Welcome to our podcast. I'm Jess.
I'm Mandy.
And we are drama bonded. And today we're going to share some tea. We're going to talk about Vanderpump Part 3 Reunion and cover episodes 9 and 10 of The Valley.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about everything now that we're kind of wrapping up?
I don't know what I'm supposed to watch on television now.
Ooh, I did see on Peacock that on June 11th, Love Island with Ariana as the host starts. So I think maybe you and I need to dip our little toesy woesies back into
Okay, everyone's been wanting us to, so I feel like we should give it a shot.
We should absolutely give it a shot. We'll have to figure out the format because I think Love Island has like 3 episodes a week. So Mandy and I will talk once we figure out the format and figure out how we're going to handle that.
We should try.
No, I think it'll be super fun. And Ariana looks so good on the advertisement. So I'm excited. I want to see Ariana happy and thriving and not in a weird, fucked up mess. So
I know, me too.
I'm ready to watch hot young people
I'm
go
ready
through
to watch
it.
happy Ariana.
Yes, me too, especially after part 3. I wanted to share some tea, though, before we get into it. You and I are both taking a social media break.
Yeah.
I did keep Instagram only. I deactivated my main account, but I did keep our drama bonded one. So I'm trying. I will keep up on that. But I'm still in that habit where I just go to Instagram to mindlessly scroll and I don't let myself do that. So I'm trying to be more mindful of my social media practice. However, I did come across some tea. Apparently, Sandoval is no longer friends with Billie Lee.
Oh, shit.
And this all comes down to his girlfriend, who apparently, dated Leonardo DiCaprio, turned 25, got dropped like a hot potato. But she doesn't work. She just sleeps all day and parties all night. And Tom wanted Billie Lee to help Victoria find an assistant to help inspire Victoria to, I don't know, I guess be a productive member of society. Billie Lee didn't appreciate that. And I guess, and this is tea dropped on Billie Lee's podcast, which I didn't listen to, but she said that Victoria paid movers to move Ariana's stuff out of the master bedroom in Tom and Ariana's house.
What the actual fuck?
Right? And then tried to say, Victoria was like, I didn't touch her stuff. And Billie,
yeah, but you paid people to do it.
So Billie Lee got on Instagram, TikTok, I don't know, made a video and was like, girl, the tea I could drop on your ass. And just went off. And I guess she did pay the movers. And that's where we find out that she's lazy and is just sort of doesn't work, doesn't need to.
Could that be technically trespassing, or is that a private violation for Ariana? How is that legally navigated?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Because technically it's still Ariana's house.
Yeah. Ariana, thankfully, is in Fiji right now, or Aruba, or somewhere tropical and not having to deal with this. So I've not heard anything from her.
Stuff's being touched.
Totally.
And Tom's in Scotland.
Oh, yeah. The other annoying tea. So one of the things Mandy and I do want to cover is Traitors, because everybody says it's so good. Season 3, unfortunately, features Tom Sandoval. Fuck that guy. But it's got Gabby Windy. So
okay, but let's talk about that really quick. Tom Sandoval is so dumb.
So dumb.
Traitors is kind of like a mental game, and I feel like Tom Sandoval is, while he is a raging liar, I don't think he's a good liar.
No, he's the worst fucking liar ever. It'll be, I guess from the standpoint of just being able to be a tried and true hater, I am, I guess, excited to see Tom Sandoval on Traitors. All this to say, though, he's in Scotland.
Yeah.
So all of this is blowing up. He doesn't have his phone. I'm so curious what's going to happen when he gets back.
I just think it's
just
crazy
messy
that both Tom and Ariana are gone, and this woman is paying movers to touch Ariana's things.
Well, the thing is I don't know if this was prior to Tom leaving.
Oh,
It
okay.
sounds like Tom might have been involved in this in some way.
Oh, okay. And now he's gone for the aftermath.
Now he's gone as everything's blowing
I
up, is
see.
my understanding of it all. So that's messy.
Just like, don't fucking touch my stuff.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that, right? Like, that's heinous behavior.
Well, and the fact that Billie Lee is no longer friends with Tom now over Victoria, and she is popping off about like,
oh, because Billie Lee absolutely wants to suck Sandoval's dick, like, and has. I'm sorry. I really have been so frustrated by Billie Lee through a lot of these
Same.
things, and I don't feel like she's been. I don't know. She's just been a really shady kind of character, which makes me sad. That like the one portrayal of a trans person we get is like, I don't know.
not one that we can really
Yeah,
root for.
it sucks. It's like, God damn it. I'm not a fan of that.
I also struggled with Billie Lee before all of the Sandoval stuff.
Well, I have too. She's made really problematic comments, choices. It just has been hard to really root for Billie Lee, and I hate that. And so so this kind of being like the big deal that it is because Billie Lee being upset with Sandoval, wow. That's kind of huge. Like, Sandoval's really stepped in it.
Yeah, it's a
like
really big
he's
deal.
losing Billie Lee, who is fine being down and dirty and like in the sense of like not really giving a shit about a lot of people. And, you know.
Well, she was one of the only few genuine friends he had left in the show space.
Yeah, that she sided with Sandoval in all of this. And like, fine, everybody needs a friend, whatever. But, whew, Tom.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's some piping hot tea.
I know. It's kind of wild. I don't know if I should talk about the Sheena
I feel
tea.
like we should wrap that into the reunion.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, that makes sense. So should we just get into the reunion?
Well, actually, I want to do our candy review.
Candy reviews with Candy and Jess.
Today we are doing Jolly Rancher hard candy fruity 2-in-1s.
Yeah.
So there's 3 flavors: orange and cherry, blue raspberry and watermelon, and grape and green apple.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think?
I'm not a hard candy person, and I want to be because I think that would help with my like candy consumption. However, I did really enjoy these. I thought the creamy part of it kind of added that needed like weight to a hard candy that I miss typically from just like sugar crystallized into a hard chunk of whatever.
I felt the exact same way. I'm also not a big hard candy eater. I think that the grape and green apple flavor was my favorite out of the 3.
Yes. Well, I'm with you. I would have never guessed, and I am not a great person, and I know you are, but even as not a great person, that was the best flavor.
Yeah. I think I was trying to think, because I'm also not a hard candy person, like what hard candies I seek out. And the only ones I could think of were Tootsie Pops and like Tic Tac mints.
That reminds me, I took a Tootsie Pop from your house and I have that stashed somewhere to eat.
Good.
Yeah, I also seek out Tootsie Pops. What were the other ones?
Like Tic Tacs or mints.
Oh yeah, Tic Tacs are really good.
But can you think of any other hard candies that you like?
The old woman that I am in me really loves the Werther's.
Okay. The butterscotch.
The butterscotch things. I think those are divine.
That's fair.
I love those, but I seek them out when I see them. I'll definitely take more than my fair share, but I don't like buy them from the store. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, or like the Lifesaver wintergreen mints. I like those.
Those are so good.
Yeah. I also I'm guilty of biting hard candy before I should. Like, I never just like suck on it the entire time.
No, that's not fun. I'm with you. I'm always like, oh, low key, I'm going to break all my teeth out. So I shouldn't. I think I know that. So I just also don't eat hard candy.
Yeah.
I do like Smarties. Does that count as a hard candy?
But it's chewable.
It is chewable.
I guess what I'm talking about, like sucking hard candies.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Thanks for remembering that.
We're not huge hard candy people, but I thought these were pretty good, especially if you like Jolly Ranchers. So check them out.
I think they make good road trip candy. Like if you need to kind of just have something in your mouth to think about as you're driving long distances, this is a really good thing to have.
I think that's a good take on it.
For sure.
All right, now let's get into the part 3 of the Vanderpumprules reunion, aka the finale, aka the end of season 11.
Woof. You and I watched this together.
Yeah, we did.
And I don't know, it was intense. It was hard to watch. There was a lot of pausing and steaming and fuming and
Yeah, there was I feel like there's just so much to unpack with the Lala of it all, and damn, there was just I don't know.
it was a brutal watch. I'm glad I got to watch it with you because I feel like we got to sit down and watch it as fans.
Yeah.
And just like we didn't take notes, we just were experiencing the show. But even from that standpoint, it was still difficult to watch.
And I think I've said this on the podcast before, but especially after finishing this episode, I think the show needs to end.
Yes, I agree. I just don't see where this goes. And it was so, even Lisa at the very end was like, I don't know how to fix this. Does anybody else know how to fix this? And the answer is no, because I think it's just unfixable.
Well, the cast is too divided now.
Yes.
And it's divided into multiple.
Factions.
It's not necessarily Team Tom and Team Ariana.
No, not at all.
It's also now like Lala and Sheena are also kind of having issues with each other, but they're trying to like preserve something. Obviously, Ariana and Katie are a thing. Tom and Schwartz are a thing. But like none of those groups actually easily commingle with each other anymore.
No, the only people that seem to easily integrate would be James and Allie, who
And
are
I
able
guess
to float
Brock.
through. Brock.
Nah.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're right. There's just too much segregation between everybody.
Like Lala's totally fine that she lit her friendship with Katie and Ariana on fire.
Ugh.
She doesn't seem like she has any interest in repairing that. I just don't know how the cast films together and comes across as like genuine friends at this point.
Yeah. And one of the things that I find really interesting is you and I haven't been big fans of The Valley, I think, until the second half. And now watching the second half of The Valley in conjunction with watching Vanderpump, it really, and I've probably said this, but it really highlights how much better a show is when it's authentic interactions, when it's actual friends, when there's history there versus forcing people to come together for these things.
Yeah, and
That
that's
just,
what this
like-
entire season felt like.
Yeah, that none of this would have happened had there not been a show, which makes it difficult to watch the show because you're just like, what am I even doing here? You don't want to. There's a fun part about watching reality TV where you get to disconnect and just like voyeurism almost and like watch these people exist. But when the show is doing this the way that they are, you're pulled out of it and you're constantly confronting that fourth wall. It's just like, what even is this show at this point? And I think that really sort of sucked the wind out of our sails for enjoyment.
Oh, yeah.
And I agree with you. Like, where does the show go from here?
I don't know. I think, should I tell my idea of what I thought this show could maybe do? Because after we finished the episode, I felt like Jess and I were just like, well, what happens now? Like, the show should end. And I said, okay, if the show doesn't end, this is how I personally see it working. I see it working a little bit more like Real Housewives, where each of the housewives has their own little world bubble where they get camera time showing like their family or where they work or like what their project they're doing. And then it's obvious that certain housewives have closer friends with other housewives, whereas other housewives like don't get along, but
Mhm.
sometimes they all come together for like orchestrated events or parties or tra-la-la for the show. And so maybe it's like we have a Schwartz and Sandy / Tom Tom scene where it's about Tom and like Kyle Chan, their friends in that group, were that they actually organically would hang out with in real life. And then people like James and Allie or Lala and Sheena can filter in and out of that. And then we have the Sheena and Lala friendship in the Valley, and maybe they're hanging out more with the Valley people. And, you know, people filter in and out of that. And then we have the Something About Her, Ariana and Katie pocket, and we get to see Anne at the sandwich shop, and we get to see Katie dating, and we get to see Ariana, you know, killing it and doing her best thing. And I don't know, maybe it's more of like a Housewives formula where they're more separate and they only come together every once in a while.
I guess my question to you is, how is that different than from what we saw this season?
Because they were trying to force the group together way too often. Like
Okay, so
every
the
episode, there's
Gotcha.
like a beach day or there's like a trip or there's a
Water tasting?
water tasting. And that to me is where things feel like it was too forced. It was too soon for Ariana. It
Mhm.
didn't, like, these people are not hanging out with each other that much.
No, and that's something that I find really interesting that we learned about in the finale too, is that Ariana's really kind of distant from everybody, like everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's interesting. I don't know. I think that could work, but I also wonder. We've talked about it so much. The appeal of these shows is sort of the messiness of these friendships, and without that, does the show have a good leg to stand on going forward?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But it got incredible ratings. I think because everybody was like hopeful that this season would be more. And I just, it makes me so mad. I do think there's a world in which this could have been a really good season had everybody rallied around Ariana and we focused on those friendships rather than everybody continuing to victimize Ariana
Yeah.
and being upset with her for not being ready to have conversations with her duplicitous piece of shit ex. And, yeah, of course she's not going to. But what would have been interesting is everybody maybe rallying around her more and getting to watch her process of working through that as a part of reality TV.
I do wonder, though, how many people that watch this season have watched the entirety of the show.
Right, or if there's just a lot of bandwagoners who
I
got
think there's
on.
a lot of bandwagoners.
That's probably not a word, but thank you for saying it back.
You're welcome. I'm on it.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Because, and maybe some people went back and watched it, but I'm saying, like, if you've watched the entirety of Vanderpump Rules, you know what this season was. It was not good. There were moments that were, like, fun to watch, and, it's interesting to unpack Scandoval and see the aftermath from it. But this season was not a good season for the cast.
No.
As far as, like, chemistry, friendships, drama, it was pretty flat.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only thing good to come of it, honestly, is getting to see Katie and Schwartz be a little
more friendly and
kind of to get a glimpse of like what they clearly saw in each other to spend 12, 13 years together. That was really, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good takeaway.
But it was a long season, so to only be getting that from it, kind of lacking.
Well, should we get into it?
Okay, let's get into it.
So the third part of the reunion starts with Tom kind of taking accountability with James about his lack of apology at his birthday party, which I do think that Tom tried to take accountability in this scene better than he has in other scenes. That being said, James kind of goes into how frustrated he was with Tom Sandoval from minimizing his friendship. And he said something in a way that really made me understand it better. He said that he's always felt like he's on Tom Sandoval's bar chart list. And what that means is just like he's felt like he's on like this list of people that Tom Sandoval has access to when he wants them. And he's never felt like prioritized or like Tom like seeks him out or chooses him as a friend. And so, the betrayal happens, and then Tom, to make Tom look better, chooses to minimize his relationship with James. And knowing that James has always kind of had this insecurity about his friendship with Tom Sandoval, it made me understand the hurt better.
Yeah, and I think one of the downsides for James this whole season has really been people trying to like have a gotcha moment of like he's not over Rachel. But I really do, I'm with you. I think the reality of it is he's really hurt by that friendship with Tom. And yes, Rachel is a part of that, but only as it relates back to Tom.
Yeah.
And I think that's a bummer for James. And I can understand a lot of James' frustration with that thing and like why that blow up happened at the band practice. And
I loved that moment.
me too. That was like, that also was another good thing to come from this season. James delivered.
And yeah, and also he's grown so much. So he delivered in a very, I'm going to say a grown way, but he still was able to kind of like use his quick James Kennedy tongue. And that is lethal.
I know. I really, I admire people who can do that. I like part of me wishes I had that ability, but then I would absolutely use it for evil. I would be in trouble all the time.
I actually believe that.
The wrath would flow, but because I'm not witty or quick on my feet, I like, by the time I think of something mean to say, the person is not around for me to say it. So it's fine. But yes, I think that's a really good observation.
Then we kind of get into Ariana feeling that people on the cast felt like she needed to be farther along than she was ready for throughout the season. And she
Yeah.
kind of mentions the only way to get through it is for me to like feel what I needed to feel. And I feel like that was what we've been screaming this entire season.
Right. If she were on this reunion losing her shit, screaming at Tom that way, yeah, maybe you'd be like, whoa. That's
where are we
hard.
at?
Yeah, have you spent any time working on you? But again, when season 11 filmed, it was 3 months out from the affair. Like, of course she's screaming at him and is fucking furious and is not okay. She's
And-
not okay because she's not okay. Like, people's inability to get that is really just shocking to me.
And now we have the perspective from Lala, understanding that all of that, minimizing Ariana's feelings and wanting her to be, less angry for her health. It's like, no, that was actually just the cast pushing her to be in a place she wasn't because they were trying to save the show.
Right.
And I think it's really hard for me to watch women not support another woman after what she's been through. And I think that the show could have thrived better with that support of
I agree.
like we've said, like fuck Tom, support Ariana, champion Ariana, like build up around Ariana. And it's weird that I think that their insecurities and jealousies kind of drove the show
Towards a
in a-
Tom Sandoval narrative.
Yes. And the show was kind of already doing that for Sandoval, but I feel like
Absolutely.
Sheena and Lala kind of catered to that. It was really strange to watch.
Well, yeah, right. If they had gone that direction, I think that there's an ability to salvage the show because if the women really rally it together and you've got James and Allie who are able to float between the Toms and the group of the women, suddenly you've got better dynamics of like, yeah, let's see what's going on at Schwartz and Sandy's and let that be a storyline for the Toms who just in and of themselves are big enough characters to like, they're dumb enough that they will create their own shit. And the women also equally, as you know, the four of them would be able to do the same and we've got something. But
I do think Brock and Sheena would probably filter in and out as well because
That's true.
Sheena is the first person to forgive most people.
yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think that could work. But yeah, the show taking the Sandoval direction was just such a bummer. And it was hard to watch. Yeah, just people not understanding that Ariana wasn't ready to have that conversation, that she didn't want to give Tom his Miami moment.
Oh my gosh, I love that she referenced that.
Me too. And then they showed Tom.
I remembered it.
Ugh.
Just sobbing in front of Kristen, telling him how sad he was about the relationship and that he will like always love her to some extent. And
But Tom doesn't love Kristen at all. He was
No.
awful to her. There's no love in that man's heart.
okay, so then we kind of get into some discussion around Jax and Brittany. And I kind of want to bring this up just because I'm so over this narrative.
Mhm.
But someone mentions how Jax and Brittany hadn't been intimate for a while. I think it was Lala, and she's the one that says like, "Well, if you're not fucking your man, someone else
Oh my
probably
God, I
is."
know. We had
And
just
it's just
talked
like-
about that line not that long ago. And then it's
just
coming out of
like,
Lala's mouth.
I'm recircling back to that because I'm so fucking over this idea that it's a woman's job to keep a man sexually happy. Otherwise, obviously, he's going to be unfaithful. Like,
Right.
what?
I know,
that
but
is not giving men any credit either.
No, it's not. It's disempowering to men. It's really putting onus on women to put themselves in uncomfortable sexual situations. It just negates everybody's own autonomy, ability to think. It's disgusting.
It's gross.
It is really gross. Like, if a guy feels that way, honestly, that's on him and not the woman. And
Yes.
yeah, ugh. And leave it to Lala. She's just like, and she thinks she eats with every one of these comments. And it's like, you're not.
Dude, she's so full of one-liners. Like when she goes off on about Brittany contacting her mom about hiring the babysitter but calling it a nanny. I was like, why are we giving this story like airtime? Why is this making the edit that we're watching?
Right, why
First of
can't
all,
we-
I don't care.
Yeah, and like honestly, you know, who deserves to be dragged a little bit more is probably Jax, if we're really going to drag anybody. So why are we pulling Brittany into something so petty just so that Lala can call her a Kentucky muffin at the end?
Oh my gosh. Seriously.
Which, by the way, I do think that that's very cute, and I would love to be
A Kentucky muffin?
Yeah, but I'm not Kentucky, and a Utah muffin doesn't have the same ring
No,
to
it
it.
doesn't.
But like, also, I think it was a little derogatory towards Brittany, just in like downplaying her intelligence or like trying like. It wasn't from Lala. It wasn't meant to be an endearing term. And that sucks because it's like, again, Lala being shitty to women. And, you know, fine. Women don't have to support every woman just because she's a woman. I get it. But at the same time, I think Brittany has been so team Lala and has not done anything to warrant this. So for the show to pull her in that way is just another way the show has just been overly misogynistic. And I don't appreciate it.
But Lala and Brittany are actually friends. And so
Actually
that was also
friends,
just
yeah.
Lala being a shitty friend. And I was going to say, you could be a Utah scone if you want to.
I don't like Utah scones as much as I like regular scones, but okay, we'll keep working on it. We'll workshop it. We're gonna come up with the baking name, but thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's see. What do we want? Oh, so then we kind of get into the Brock and Sheena of it all. And I want to bring up this point where Ariana is like, you know, Sheena, that time when you got asked about if you think Tom was more sad about losing his friendship with you versus like losing his relationship with me. The way Sheena dodged this was fucking insane to me.
I could not believe that Sheena was like, context. I'm like, listen, yeah, absolutely context matters. Literally, there was no context. She was asked a question and she answered it how she felt like she wanted to answer it. So what context was there, Sheena?
Yep.
This is actually a moment where the context is irrelevant.
Yeah, she's like, you're just watching scenes on TikTok and stuff. And it's like, no, actually, you just answered the question. And that was the question. And it meant exactly what Ariana thinks it means. But way to deflect.
Okay, so like also let's break that down. If that's actually true, fine. Sheena can feel that way, but then Sheena also needs to then turn around and acknowledge how completely unhinged it is that is Tom Sandoval's feelings about the situation. That he is more sad about his friendship with Sheena than his nearly decade-long relationship with Ariana. And it's so frustrating to listen to Ariana be like, well, I've not got an apology. And dumb Sheena being like, oh, she just needs Tom to apologize. No, it is literally the fact that Tom has not apologized to Ariana for this and has continued to attack Ariana says everything about Tom that needs to be said. And that Sheena just like, it's just somehow not filtering through her brain. She's not getting it at any point.
Well, she did admit later on in the reunion that like watching the season back, she is kind of embarrassed for how much she was defending him. So I feel like it's starting to sink in.
Yes, but it shocks me that like none of that occurred to her even in the moment.
Well, I think the only reason it's starting to sink in is because she lives in the comment section and she's getting a lot of heat for it.
Yeah, so it's like, did Sheena even figure this out? Or did Sheena just like read enough? I guess it doesn't matter if you're willing to change your mind about something based on new information. But that's what it took. Like Sheena's lack of awareness is just shocking to me. I don't know. That was pretty wild.
I am so over Sheena and Lala not just being able to say that they're jealous of Ariana's opportunities. Like Sheena's whole thing about, I'm not jealous. I just like want to be a part of it. Like it's so awesome that she's getting all of these opportunities and I just don't want to be left behind. I don't think it's jealousy. It's like, oh my God, sit down.
And you know what?
You're jealous.
You're jealous. You're jealous. And you know, I think that it would have been so much more interesting. Talk about authenticity. I would have loved to watch Sheena and Lala really break that down and how hard it is for women to be in these circumstances of like having been treated really deplorably and now watching it happen to somebody else and them getting completely different treatment and like breaking that down. Like what is happening here? What are the dynamics? What are the value systems that are being weighed here? I don't know. I think that could have been really interesting television to watch them honestly admit where they're at and why and talk about that than to just like deny it till they're blue in the face. But it's like, yeah, but you are just jealous. So everything you say holds no weight or water because you're not even being honest about what your actual emotions about this are.
And everyone knows you're jealous, and so you kind of just seem a little silly.
Yeah, we're not stupid. We have eyeballs and ears.
I mean, I would be jealous too.
absolutely.
That's why I'm saying.
And then there is an air of hurtfulness that like Ariana admitted, I think in the part 2, that she didn't reach out to anybody to tell them that she made it to Broadway. Like she's not
including them.
She's not engaging with the cast. And like, I think that is a perfectly reasonable response for them to be jealous and hurt that this is all happening. And like in Ariana's defense though, I say it all the time, 2 things are true. She's struggling and probably depressed and having a hard time figuring out how to reach out. And like, how do you reach out when you're hurting and then be like, oh my God, I got a battery commercial. Oh my God, I got a Glad commercial. Oh my God, I'm going on Broadway. Oh my God, I got to do this, Dancing with the Stars. I'm getting to do
a new cocktail book.
I get to be the host of Love Island. Is that what Love Island? Yeah. I mean, what's Ariana to do? Because had she called them and told everybody this, I think there also would have been backlash. Ariana is like in an unwinnable situation too, in being able to like be devastated and also have all of these career opportunities coming up. Like that's so tricky to navigate. I would have a hard time calling you up in a circumstance like that to be like, I don't know. Like that's hard.
Guess at all the amazing stuff that's happening in my life, but also I'm really sad and I'm struggling a lot, but here I am.
Because you're going to sound ungrateful or you're going to sound like you're bragging.
Yeah.
Like there's no winning. And I think people like they can't, I don't know. I'm rambling, but that was shocking to me too. So
I really appreciated this moment in the reunion where Schwartz gets a little emotional about being asked about if Katie is the one that got away. And he was like, you know, I totally think we made the right decision. You know,
yeah.
I think what happened needed to happen, but also he gets emotional talking about how much Katie means to him and how he doesn't feel like their relationship was wasted time. And then Katie gets emotional. And I feel like it was just like this tiny moment that was like,
it was tender.
Despite the dysfunction in their relationship, which we did see some of this season, we also saw them become closer friends and not hate on each other as much. And you start seeing the chemistry and the friendship that is what kept their relationship alive for 12 years.
Yes.
And I think it's really cool to see them genuinely care about each other on the other side of everything.
Yeah, there's nothing. I agree. There's very little that makes me happier than being able to see 2 people who really do love each other and can also recognize like we're not the best for each other, but that doesn't mean that there's love lost there. Like that's probably not actually that saying, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I loved that. And I loved the thread through the whole season. I really did. I think that was really just, that felt authentic. That felt a lot more real than anything else did this season. And yeah, I'm here for it.
Same.
And weirdly, I still think I hate Schwartz, but it endeared me to him a little bit more. And I understood like those moments where I was like, I see what Katie saw in him. I understand how this dynamic played out. Like it does make sense to me. Well, if you're getting those moments from him.
We need that piece of Schwartz to like humanize him.
Yes.
Because otherwise it's really hard to deal with his like fake people pleasing bullshit. Anyways.
Totally.
All right. So then they watch the ending of the episode.
Oh. This is where I feel like Ariana is being victimized again. If like the show didn't get the response it wanted from Ariana, so it forced that response.
Yep, that's totally true.
And I mean, fine, she's a year out. It's definitely different than it happening 3 months after the affair, but I still think it's really conniving of the show. And I don't know.
I mean, not surprised, but I totally agree.
Yeah.
A lot of them were pretty emotional watching it back. Like, I did think seeing their reactions to things were interesting.
Definitely.
Sheena looked like she wanted to throw up the entire time.
She's like, oh, fuck. There's no coming back. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Everybody's going to be mad at me. I will say, I've got a screenshot of Sheena's face from Twitter, and it just says, if I'm ever being a dumb bitch, this is the face I'm probably making. And it's like, yeah, that's it. Like, Sheena knew she fucked up.
She knew.
and that there was no way to really come back from it. But I think this moment was good for Sheena because listening to her talk about, I'm going to get a little bit ahead, but her thread of just not knowing how to navigate this, being worried about what everybody thinks. It's like, okay, Sheena.
Which is very on brand for Sheena.
It is really on brand for Sheena. And I think it's one of Sheena's most toxic traits. Like, girl, be authentic. It's okay if people get upset with you. And I say that as like, also, I struggle with that. Like, I will think through, I'm not good at chess, but I am very good at chess in my own life of like, okay, how do I navigate this to avoid anybody being upset with me? And honestly, like, don't. Like, obviously have some tact, right? But I feel like Sheena does it so much to a fault, and she should just be her authentic self. And she's okay to be frustrated with Ariana. She's okay to be sad about her friendship with Tom Sandoval. She's okay that she doesn't know how to navigate all this, but like take some ownership of it and stop being so worried about upsetting other people and just process your own shit.
And then we see that play out again in this reunion with her trying to cater to Lala in the moment.
That made me so sad.
Speak to Lala so that Lala feels like someone's on her side, and she doesn't want Lala to be mad at her for not like standing by her.
I know.
And she's like, I'm tired of like Sheena just like exactly like you said. She's kind of in this no-win situation where she's like, but Ariana and I have been friends for a really long time, but I also want Tom to change and I want to support him as a friend, but I also understand how Lala feels, and like you can't play for 3 teams equally.
No, so that's where it comes down to understanding like what do I value out of these friendships and who is showing up for me? Who do I feel most confident showing up for? Where do my loyalties lie? And she just doesn't have loyalties. She can't because she's so worried about what people think about her. She's not worried about like how she treats other people as a result of this. So
I'm also going to do a hot take.
Oh, I love it. Give it to me.
Just because you have been friends with someone for 10 years, like Sheena and Lala have been friends for I think longer than that. If Ariana is not showing up for Sheena in the way that Sheena needs a friend to show up for her, and I'm not saying that's like on Ariana, like
yeah, you're
maybe
good.
Ariana can't show up in the way Sheena needs, and maybe Ariana isn't capable of being a friend to Sheena in the way that Sheena needs, and maybe Sheena's loyalties aren't obligated to Ariana just because they have a long friendship.
I think that's really true. And I think that that's one of the things that's so frustrating with Sheena is it's like, girlfriend, you can have these feelings. You can be sad that Ariana did not at all prioritize your friendship. Whether Ariana should have or not, if you needed that and you didn't get that, that's okay.
That's valid.
Absolutely. And Sheena just like seems incapable of recognizing that or being able to own then the consequences of that. And that's a bummer.
I feel like I would have so much more respect if she just like said that.
Yeah, because there's nothing to be said to that.
Well, she is saying it, but she's not standing by it and like owning her emotions.
No, because she's still trying to play it off. Like she's still trying to be there for Ariana. And like good hedge, I get it. But at the same time, yeah, just own it.
Yeah.
And accept the consequences of that ownership. But she'll feel a lot better. She'll feel a lot less conflicted.
And this is a good transition into the Lala thing because Lala, I think, knows Sheena's true emotions on the subject, which we've seen them have multiple interactions on this season about
Laying
Ariana's opportunities, like how Ariana isn't being her true self for the show. You can tell this is something that they've bonded over.
Absolutely.
And so Lala is getting mad at Sheena being like, no one's being fucking real this season. Like, I know how you feel about Ariana. And like, da-da-da-da-da-da. So it's all kind of coming to a head.
It really is.
We'll get into the Lala of it in a second, but I do understand Lala calling out Sheena because I do think that woman to woman, Lala has played the role for Sheena where she's like supported Sheena through those conversations and been like, I see you. I understand how you feel. And then for Sheena to not authentically show up for herself and be real with like those feelings to everyone else, I do understand Lala being like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I do too. But it also like, yep, yeah. And it made me sad to watch Sheena scramble to try and do something about that. And again, it's like, Sheena, you would have been better served by being authentic and you would have actually not just like set fire to yours and Lala's relationship.
Yeah.
Which clearly does mean something to her because Sheena even said Lala's been her rock through all of this. And like, good. I'm glad they have each other. I want people to have friends. I don't want anybody to ever be alone in life or feel like they don't have support, because that is a very lonely, miserable existence. I don't want that for anybody. Tracking back a little bit, I kind of, even though I hate Brock and Tom Sandoval, Brock isn't wrong that sometimes you do need friends to bounce your ideas off of and have somebody be like, that's stupid. Tom Sandoval should know a lot of these things, but like even Tom Sandoval deserves a fucking friend. Like nobody's saying otherwise.
Yes.
So, and just being true about that goes a long way. That's more relatable than anything Sheena's doing.
I just felt like Sheena's friendship with Ariana this season seemed very performative because
Yes.
she felt like she should be friends with Ariana, and she didn't actually feel like friends with Ariana.
And that's valid. Ariana didn't include you in anything.
Yeah.
I would be really hurt by that too if suddenly I found out a bunch of stuff that was going on like after the fact. Like
that would make a better season.
that would, because I was like, oh, are we not friends? Like, what's going on? Or for Sheena to confront that, to be like, Ariana, why are you not talking to me about this? Like, let's see that conversation.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. We're just going to have Sheena do her performative.
Like she's trying to prioritize Ariana's feelings, but also like, I want to be friends with Tom and he's trying. And it's just like, I don't know. It was.
Yeah. Ariana gave Sheena so much grace through all of this.
And she did in the reunion.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
In the
okay.
reunion, Ariana had so much grace for Sheena. And I think Ariana understands people's frustrations with her too. Like, it's not lost on her. She said that too. She's like, I get it. You're frustrated. But I don't understand the insults.
I also think long-term friendships hold more grace for each other. And so Ariana probably knows she didn't show up as a good friend to Sheena in some ways.
Or to understand Sheena's struggle and to know that she can't show up for her.
Yeah.
I've got my versions of this story in my life in different ways, and it is really heartbreaking when you can't show up for people that you wish you could show up for, but sometimes you just fucking can't.
Yeah.
And that's a really harsh reality, and I think that is what's going on for Ariana right now. It sucks. So, should we talk about Lala?
Oh my God. Let's talk about Lala.
Oh. I just have to say, I think some of my Lala, I only took notes about Lala because she pissed me off this whole thing. Like, that's all I was ready to talk about. Lala telling Katie not to raise her voice at her. I was just like, who do you think you even are, Lala?
Well,
like,
Lala thinks she's saving the show. So that's who Lala thinks she is.
well, if she is, it's on the back of Ariana, you know?
Lala
Like,
is the martyr of season 11
oh boy.
in Lala's eyes.
In Lala's eyes.
Sorry.
No.
That's
But I
important.
think that's valid. I think that probably is exactly how this is going to go.
So Lala doubles down. She doesn't regret saying what she said at the end of the finale. And she kind of goes into it just saying like, no one's being real but me. And like,
But then turns around and accuses Ariana, like, if you don't give a shit about your place on the show, give a shit about mine. And it's like, Lala, so you're literally asking Ariana to not be authentic
Yeah.
on your behalf,
yeah.
but not on her own literal well-being. She can't, like, do what she needs to do for her, but she needs to do what you need her to do for you. Fuck off.
And that's the thing is I think Lala's kind of confusing authenticity with like people willing to do whatever they need to make good television. And that's an interesting
Oh, yeah. That's a really good
I think that's an interesting what am I trying to say? Like
Dichotomy?
paradox?
it's a false dichotomy. Those two things aren't the same thing.
Yeah, but
And she thinks they are.
yes, because I think she's like, I show up, I do this job, this is what this job looks like. And if you're gonna like show up and do this job well, then you have to be willing to do A, B, and C. And she's basically saying Ariana wasn't willing to do that. And so that was crippling the show.
Yeah.
And Lala's saying, I'm always willing to show up and do that because it allows me to have this lifestyle, these babies, like these opportunities.
2 houses.
Yeah,
One's
like,
fine, girl. Why
wow.
do you need 2?
But she has one in Palm Springs next to Sheena.
Oh.
And
then one in the valley?
yeah, she just bought one in the valley.
Wild.
But so I think that is an interesting take where Lala's talking about like showing up for the drama of the show to preserve the show, and Ariana's talking about actually her authentic life.
Yeah. And like, it's so wild to me that Lala who I guess also is stupid, right? Like, I don't know, that the fact that she can't discern the differences of the two, but then also like the cast had to sign NDAs when she started dating Randall, and just like is gonna play this off as though like she didn't withhold a huge amount of her life from the show too.
Yeah.
Get out of here. You don't even have a leg to stand on with this. And also, yeah, you're conflating two very different things. That was, yeah,
Well, just the way she summarized the ending being like, if I hadn't said what I said, the episode would have ended with you walking out the door, as if that wasn't a good ending. First of all, I thought Ariana not having that conversation with Tom was great television.
amazing television.
And the way that Lala perceived that as like them being robbed of a scene that should have happened is really interesting. And she feels like she saved the ending with her breaking the fourth wall comment and going off on Ariana. And I was like, honestly, that was just like a really shitty look for you.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And yeah, it also, Ariana pointed out that wouldn't have been a good conversation.
Exactly.
And it wouldn't have been. It just would have been more Tom being Tom. And I've had enough of Tom. I'm sick of Tom.
And she pointed out that the show does better when what is happening is authentic to their lives. And I agree. And that's why season 11 has been so bad.
So bad.
Do you want to go into the Sheena podcast?
Yeah,
comment now?
I thought that was so. Sheena, on her most, maybe not her most recent, I don't want to speak to which episode. I should have written that down, but she basically on her shenanigans said that Alex Baskin came to them and was like, you have to create drama to save the show.
And that's so obvious to me that that's what was going on. I feel like I told you that
You did.
Sheena and Lala are producing scenes.
It's so funny. We ended that episode and I was just like, Lala is a garbage person. And I don't say that lightly because I don't believe that about a lot. Like, I don't know, but I don't know how else. I didn't know how else to describe Lala's behavior in all of this. And then you said that, and it was kind of like, oh, still garbage because like you're coming at Ariana, who has been cheated on by her partner of almost a decade, and then you're mad at her for 3 months after not being able to have a conversation with him on camera for your sake, for your two homes, for your stability. Whereas Ariana is struggling with all the things that she's struggling with. Like, that is awful behavior. But in the context of like saving the show, I'm not really actually sure that makes it any better, but it does give context.
Yeah.
But it's wild. I also find it shocking that Sheena would say that on a podcast. Like, I know Lala broke the fourth wall, but that was produced into the show.
That
like,
almost seems like a fifth wall.
yeah, exactly. Like the producers, the layers of that. But
definitely
Sheena
not
just
supposed to say that.
Absolutely not. And I'm not really sure what made her think that was
kosher.
Yeah, I'm
That's
really
insane.
shocked to hear. Like, we'll see what comes of this. Maybe she'll be spared because it continues to drum up interest for the show. But personally, for me, that's like, I really, really don't want there to be a season 12.
I guess the only thing I will say is hearing Lala equate this all to keeping the show alive and her lifestyle alive and all of that. Like, that to me makes all of Lala's actions more produced and calculated than her being like, this is who I am. This is how I really feel. And I'm not saying that it changes the way I feel about Lala, but it changes the way I view what happened this season.
Definitely.
Because, and I think that we were spot on. It's like, in past seasons when Lala is authentic, I think it's really obvious when she is owning her shit or when she's really passionate about something. And this season, I felt like none of that. I felt like Lala was kind of floating and
She was a
creating
sellout.
things. Yes, and I think it was coming from this desperate part of her that knew that this season wasn't good. And I think the cast has filmed together long enough to know when it's not good.
Yeah. I don't know. It was really hard for me to watch that on Ariana's behalf. Like, again,
Oh,
I tried not to
1000%.
be invested in people in reality TV because, like, we don't know them. We only know who we see on the show.
Yeah.
But it was really just so jarring to see Lala behave the way that she did. Like, that was really next level behavior in conjunction with everything that had happened the previous season. It does, again, yeah, you're right. It gives context because otherwise it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? But with the context of like trying to drum up drama, it's still just like, oh, so you're just willing to sell your soul for this. And I don't have any respect for that at all.
Well, that's not the TV I want to see.
No, because then at that point, like, I would rather just watch well-written shows with
Yeah,
manufactured
exactly.
drama that's actually good.
Yeah.
Thanks. There's plenty of, scripted television that's fantastic. Thank you.
I think Ariana handled all of this bullshit flawlessly.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, she really
I just want to
did.
give her a little round of applause because,
Yeah.
wow, woman, you are strong. You handled all of this bullshit with such grace. You are cream of the crop.
She really is. Like, for her to be able to hold herself together as well as she did, having experienced really hard things in my life, I know that I have not been able to like hold it together in crucial moments or at times. I could not imagine having to do that on television with people poking and prodding me.
Oh, 1,000% no.
I would end up the villain of a reality TV show after something like that just because like I could not hang. So for
I would
her
love
to
to
do
watch that though.
Whoo, I don't know. Thank you. Yes, I think I could probably at some points in my life have made very good TV. But for her to maintain her composure and authenticity and to have shown up, yeah, absolutely. Kudos.
Is there anything else we want to wrap up with as far as Vanderpump Rules goes?
I just want to call attention to Lala getting Sandoval's respect at the end.
Oh, God.
Girl, that should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, like,
whoa.
Wow.
Is that really what you wanted?
That's the takeaway you earned. Good for you.
Blech. Yeah. He is so gross. I just can't. If that man said that to me, I just would be like, well,
What
I
have
need
I
to go.
done?
I'm going to become a nun. I'm going to go find God. Thank you.
Interesting.
Okay. What about you? Anything?
I think that's a good note to end on. I do think that the show will come back for another season just because of the ratings.
Yeah, the ratings are through the roof.
But in my heart of hearts, my relationship with the show has ended. Like, I will continue to watch it if they produce it, but I feel like Vanderpump Rules is no longer what it needs to be.
Do you feel like you would want to podcast about it if it continued? I think we need to at some point have a conversation about how we feel about watching some of these shows.
Oh, yeah, we could do that after.
Yeah, maybe
once we wrap up the Valley, we can talk about that.
Yeah, Manny and I have talked about watching reality TV and what it feels like to podcast about it versus just being able to watch it. So we'll do an episode on that.
I think that'd be a really interesting episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to kind of shuffle back and do a couple episodes of The Valley. We're going to be covering episodes 9 and 10, and then next week we are going to, or maybe not next week, but our next episode we're going to be covering the last 2 episodes, and we're going to cover them more in depth than we have been in the past.
Yeah, I am excited a little bit more to talk about The Valley now that we're like cooking with some steam. I've not watched the last 2 episodes. I'm going to hold off until we hit that moment where we're closer to watching them because I think the plan is we want to like, we've not really been getting into The Valley, but we want to get into The Valley.
Yeah, because I do think the last half of the season has been better than the first half of the season. So we want to kind of give it its own episode to pay respect to the fact that I feel like we have circled back around to it and enjoyed watching it.
Definitely. They're having the conversations that I want to hear. Even if I don't like them or agree with them,
it's good television.
The conversations are still happening.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't think we necessarily need to like do a full recap of these episodes just because I'm sure even our listeners are like, what even happens what even happens in episodes 9 and 10? But I think I just want to highlight some of the things that I thought were interesting takeaways. First of all, the fact that Kristen and Zach were not invited to Janet's baby moon. And it's funny because Zach equates it to being a friend trip. And Janet's like, it's not a friend trip. It's my baby moon. And it's like, yeah, which you invited all of your friends to.
Who just, the majority happened to be couples. And Jasmine's partner didn't. Is Jasmine there?
Jasmine is there, but her partner couldn't come.
So why couldn't Zach be her +1?
But Zach wasn't invited because he's close friends with Kristen.
And then when he calls Janet to have this conversation, she was so awful to him. I just like, it confirms to me that Janet is the instigator of a lot of things in this show.
I think she's the mean girl of the group.
And then Jax, like between those two and all of the drama that sort of radiates off of them. Yeah, absolutely. They're the drivers of a lot of this. Kristen a little bit, but sort of tangentially.
Kristen is drama. Like, Kristen is messy to the 10th degree, but Kristen is not as smart and calculated and manipulative as
No.
Janet.
Of everybody, I do think Kristen is somebody that I would be friends with
Oh, for sure.
versus everybody else. I'm like, Kristen, like, yeah, absolutely, probably would be friends with Kristen.
Yeah, Janet is
She's scary.
she's scary. But just the way that Zach was like getting emotional and worked up because he wasn't invited, and she's like, you're coming at me right now, and if this was different, then maybe I would invite you. But like the way you're coming at me, I don't feel like I need to extend an invite. And it's just like
she was
what?
never going to invite him.
She was never gonna invite him.
Ew.
And then I love that he called out her friend in the pink
Simon.
Crocs that was like recording their conversation.
Right, because the blow up happened at Kristen's James May
Yeah, James May event.
where she was just showing off her new t-shirts and everything, which by the way are pretty cute.
Yeah.
I looked them up. And Simon in the pink Crocs was, like kind of in the background recording. The news dropped because Brittany and Jax had to be the ones to break it to Kristen and Zach that they weren't invited.
He's totally Janet's little henchman.
Oh, yeah. Well, because then you see him filling her in later. Before that, though, I just wanted to talk about, for me, what stuck out is Jesse and his stupid drug trip that was supposed to like cleanse his ego, rather than like sticking it through in therapy. He's like, well, I'll just go do drugs.
I'm going to go do ayahuasca and be a new person.
And listen, I think that there is healing properties that can come with taking drugs and letting your ego go away for a little while. But I really think that's in tandem with a lot of therapy and a lot of awareness and an ability to do something with that freedom of space. Jesse didn't learn shit.
I do think that those moments can be insightful, pivotal, like
Yeah.
inspiring. I think you can have like spiritual experiences from them.
1,000%.
But I think that's like a layer on top of a lot of other layers. That is not like the layer that solves all the issues.
Right, because like at the end of the day, you're on drugs. Like and for people to not be able to acknowledge that, which Jesse is one of them, I don't buy it. And neither does Michelle. I love her comment that it's really hard to kill an ego as big as Jesse's.
Yeah. Like he's like, it was like a death of my ego. And she's like, in the ITM, she's like, oh, this is a really big ego to kill.
Yeah. So no way. No way.
Okay, so I think they're all at Big Bear
Yeah.
drinking tequila.
Jesse is way too rambunctious. Like hits Michelle in the nose, tackles Danny.
I love that they all just start talking about their nose jobs because they're like, oh my God, her nose.
Yeah, I didn't know nose jobs made your nose so fragile, but that also makes sense.
Yeah. And I guess like in LA, nose jobs are like boob jobs in Utah.
Yeah, just like a dime a dozen. Everybody's had
Everyone's
one.
had a nose job. I don't think I know anyone in my life who's had a nose job.
I know one person that I'm aware of. You know what makes me sad? And I get why people aren't forthcoming about this kind of stuff because there's such like
There's a lot of shame around cosmetic surgery.
which is so frustrating because it's like women are expected or anybody is expected to look really good, but then how dare they do it through plastic surgery? And it's like, fuck off with all of it. But what I really want is just open and honest conversations about it. And it's really reassuring to be like, oh, again, I'm poor, which is why I don't look as good as people on my television because I don't have 10K to drop on a nose job or whatever. And so hearing them all talk about it, it's like, this feels better. Okay, cool. You're all beautiful. And they're beautiful anyway, but like nose
But
jobs
you can
help.
afford to be super beautiful.
Yeah, if I could afford a nose job, I could probably also afford really good skincare and facials on the regular and like, I don't know.
That'd be nice.
Right?
Jesse takes it a little too far with Danny and
Can't apologize
can't
for.
apologize. And Danny is pegged as the most sensitive man in the group.
Poor Danny.
I know. He's trying so hard in life.
He really is.
But we'll circle back to that later when they end up talking about it. But on the way back from the beach day, Brittany gets sick in the car and she's like, please, she tells the women, like, please don't tell Jax that I was throwing up because he'll think it was because I was drunk and I'm not drunk.
That made me so sad. I feel like anytime a partner has to be like, please don't tell my partner, like, red flag, just immediately. Like, why? Why is this not something you can talk about? Is this a
Yeah.
you problem? Is this a Jax problem? Like, what is even going on here? Jax is so awful.
Well, and she kind of is just like, this happens all the time. I just need to push through it. Like, please don't tell him and it'll be fine. And I think Nia's comment of like, if that works for you, girl, it was kind of a telling thing of like, that's Nia saying that wouldn't work for me because that seems not okay.
Well, and
But
it's so hard when
I'm
you're
not
watching
in your marriage.
Right, not in your marriage. And like, what are friends supposed to do in that
Yeah,
moment?
because she thinks that's probably not okay for Brittany to feel that way or be treated that way. But also, like, Brittany's the one that's navigating this with Jax.
And Jax is not a reasonable, empathetic person.
No.
So, like, there's no reasoning with Jax, which is also heartbreaking. It makes total sense that they're separated now and just gonna not be together.
Yeah. So then we get to the conversation where Michelle mentions to Jesse that Jax brought up the conversation with her. And Jesse's just like, Jax, get up here.
And I just want to interrupt. It took me a minute to piece this all together. And this is in part just because I've been watching the show in chunks, so I don't remember everything. But for me, the big reveal is that Jax is the perpetuator of this rumor about Michelle and that he heard it from Brittany, and Kristen is catching all the heat for it.
Yep.
All of it.
Because crazy Kristen's an easy scapegoat.
Yeah, Kristen's wrong a lot. Kristen is absolutely the scapegoat in this situation, and it sucks. It makes me so mad. And like, this group is so messy. Like, no, ugh. And Kristen's called them out for doing this because of the show. Like, that I think is interesting. It put some of her earlier comments in context where she was like, they're not saying the same things they were a few weeks ago, and suddenly we're filming and stories are changing and da 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 da. And it's like, Kristen's calling it like she sees it. And I am inclined to believe Kristen on this because we're watching Jax like full on lie about it and everybody's on board.
Yep. I mean, Kristen has also filmed a show with Jax for a very long time and knows exactly.
She should know better.
Yeah, like, Kristen, come on, smarten up. I know that Jax
Our girl's not gonna.
Yeah, I know that Jax is your friend, but like, pay attention.
God. Yeah. Yeah, Jesse calls Jax up. And it seems like it's fine. Like, actually, it turns out the tea isn't tea at all.
Well, supposedly Michelle thinks that Jesse just knows everything. And Jesse kind of seems to confirm that. He's like, yeah, I'm not surprised with any of this. And Jax in his ITM's like, well, I didn't get any sexy pictures when they sold us our house.
Yeah, I guess selling houses in LA is different than selling houses other places. I don't know. My realtors have never sent me sexy photos.
I don't know if Jesse knows the full extent to what Michelle was doing with this guy. I feel like probably not. But it does feel like from this conversation, you do get an understanding that Jesse and Michelle have a realistic picture of like where their relationship is at.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't particularly feel bad for either one of them.
No.
They both seem incredibly intelligent, incredibly calculated,
manipulative.
Like, they're just the worst for each other.
Yeah.
They're in it together. I don't know. Manipulative. Ugh.
I mean, it's good that they've separated.
I think so too.
Yeah.
They're toxic. And sometimes that's how that goes. You can love a person and not be good together. Do we want to move to episode 10? Was there anything else about episode 9 you wanted to touch on?
Yeah, we're kind of already in episode 10.
Are we? Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. I thought the men having their emotional conversation around the fire. This is one of those things that like I hate what they're saying, but like sometimes it's validating to watch people have these conversations. Like, I don't agree with it, but I do absolutely believe these guys were being authentic in this moment to themselves.
Yeah, like what they're saying was shitty, but also I think it's important for men to be able to sit around a fire and have conversations about things they feel like they can relate to each other on, because unfortunately I think men don't communicate the way they need to with their men friends sometimes.
Yeah, so watching them sit around the fire crying about all of their problems, like, okay, how many of these are creations of your own making?
Yeah.
But also good for you for being able to talk about it, because this is a group where you talk about it with, and do not burden your partner with these
Yes.
dumb shit things.
But also them being like, boo-hoo, women expect too much of us and they don't appreciate us for doing the bare minimum and blah.
the bare minimum.
Which I actually think that Danny is trying hard, but it's also like, your wife is also working equally as hard, and you're both meeting each other where you can. And that is like, this is why they have the healthiest relationship on the show.
Right. But I would also like to go as far as to say, like, putting a baby on the boob is not the same thing
As having,
the baby on your boob.
yeah, definitely not.
So fuck off. Like,
And also his wife's suffering with so much depression. Like, I feel like he did his wife a little dirty in this conversation.
I do too. It was really a bummer. And like, that's also a product of having stupid, shitty friends, right? Like, they're not going to be able to understand that. So it's also like, Danny, why are you friends with these people?
And also, you know how shitty of a husband Jesse is. So why he's not the husband you want to relate to.
Same with Jax. Why don't you and Jason go off and have this conversation?
Yeah.
Also made me laugh that Jason's like, I was really hoping they were going to talk this up, but they're not.
Like, shit, I'm having a baby.
Yeah. And like, these are conversations people should be having before having kids, or parents should be more honest about the reality of child rearing. I don't know. So like, it was good, right? I think that I don't agree with them. I think they're dumb, but also I really appreciated being able to watch this conversation.
And then Janet comes out to ask them a question or ask for help with dinner, and she gets shushed. And watch out.
Janet flew off the handle, and I would fly off the handle. I just like, get out.
Yeah, I see both sides of it.
I do too. She went too hard, but also
she's pregnant and the only one cooking for all these people, and she asked for help and they shushed her, and it's just like, oh,
Jesse
shit.
shushed her, right?
Yeah.
God, he's an asshole. Yeah, that. And Jason, to his credit, like, got right up, ran down there, did what he needed to do.
Bless that man.
I know. Her
She's-
pajama set was really cute.
She's very lucky to have him.
So lucky to have him.
Yeah.
Because she is seemingly not a nice person.
And she's also very high maintenance.
Super high maintenance.
We have to mention Zach's revenge.
Oh, I thought that was so great.
I thought it was so clever for him to put his location in Big Bear and just like mess with her head. And it worked 1,000%.
She was like, is he hiding in the woods? Like, oh my God. No, he's not. He's giving you mad shit, which you deserve. And him and Kristen are just sitting in Kristen's apartment having like a spa day at her place. I loved that. I thought that was very good. That's the kind of drama that I appreciate.
I was going to say, this is the reality television I need.
Yeah, give us petty shit.
I guess the last thing we can know is just Jax still doubling down on Brittany's issues in front of everyone, and her coming out of the room being like, you're the only one talking shit about me, and you're my fucking husband, and da-da-da-da-da. And then even after she does that, he doubles down still and is like, trash talking her. And Jesse, the least liked of the bunch, comes to Brittany's defense and is like, don't criticize her in front of all of us.
Ew, no. Man.
And Jax just doubles down again. He's like, well, maybe I need to, because we talk about this all the time and nothing changes. So maybe if I say it in front of other people, something will change.
I just like, even if the implication is, and even if Brittany were an alcoholic, I do not subscribe to the Tom Lala version of events where you have to just display everything all the time for television. I think that's gross, and I don't need that. I don't want that. And for Jax to be doing that to Brittany, even if that were the case, and I don't think it is really deplorable behavior.
Yeah.
Like, that's doing it for the ratings. That's doing it for the show and not for authentic, actual concern. Jax is just awful. I don't know. Yeah. Jax Taylor is wild to me.
So I think that's the Valley.
You ready for the last 2 episodes?
Yeah, I'm excited.
I am too. It's been really hard to not watch them.
I know. I'm going to enjoy them closer to when we record next.
I know. That's definitely a get a glass of wine, get comfy on the couch.
Yeah.
Really settle in to take it all in.
And I feel like I haven't been able to pay as much attention to it because it's been in tandem with Vanderpump Rules.
Right. And it turns out it's really hard to have 2 shows going simultaneously and to sit down and take notes and really watch it as fully as you want to. So now that it's just The Valley, it's a little more approachable. One show at a time is.
For a while, we also had The Bachelor. Remember?
Ooh, that's right.
Trifecta.
We were. Damn, I don't even. That's how we wound up on every other week, and it's been a good schedule for us. But even that is still.
Yeah, I think we're gonna stick to every other week for now. It's just been a little bit easier for us to be consistent, and so we hope that you're okay with us showing up in that way.
Yeah, it's better. I personally feel like it's better for us to be consistent rather than just kind of all over the place trying to do every week when it's just not feasible for us with our schedules.
But we did get a list of Jen's men. And so that's something else we can talk about maybe after the Valley episode.
Oh yeah, I would love to do that. We can give our first takes on what we think of these guys.
Yeah, our traditional most likely to.
Yes. I think that'll be really fun. I was excited. There seems to be a little bit more body diversity in these guys. We've got some big burly men. I like it. Yeah, not to judge anybody, but I don't just want to see ripped, muscular men on my television. I really don't. It's not fun for me. I think that just the same way it's not fun to see a bunch of tiny, petite, blonde women with big boobs and fake hair. No, I want to see people.
Yeah.
I do want diversity in all of its forms. So
same.
I'm excited for this. It gives me just a little tingle of hope that we're going to have a really good season. We've got new production. We've got Jen, who we really like.
I'm excited about Jen.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
Me too.
I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm feeling really optimistic.
Same.
So excited for that. We'll definitely scope out Love Island.
Yeah.
That starts in a few days. So we'll figure that out. And thanks for hanging with us. And we're so grateful for every listener, new and old. You guys are amazing.
Thanks for surviving season 11 of Vanderpump Rules with us.
Yeah. Hopefully we're on to more entertaining, joyful things.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Drama Bonded is produced and hosted by Mandy Booth and Jessica Brumbaugh. Graphic designer is Pigeon House. Thank you.